When I woke up on Tuesday morning, I wasn't in my bed. I wasn't in my cozy little house with my loving partner and the kids just down the hall. I wasn't even in 2024. When I woke up on Tuesday morning, my body thought that I was 7 years old again, that I was riding my bike around my grandparents' condo, watching my sister, she was one at the time, take a gulp from her sippy cup. And that I was going to relive seeing my sister get abducted again. I remember everything about that day: the sky, my clothes, her blue sippy cup, and in a vague way, because you know how 7-year-olds don't pay attention to lawn care, I remember thinking, boy, there's a lot of landscapers here. And then suddenly, one of them darted away from the rest. In seconds, he had knocked me off my bike and grabbed my sister. As I screamed for my grandparents, for my neighbors, for anyone to please, please help us, I saw him throw her in the car and take off. And as the getaway car sped past me, I saw the man behind the wheel was him, the abusive sociopath I knew as my father. I'm worried that some of you are holding your breath. Please breathe. We got my sister back. Not that day. The kidnappers made it all the way to Canada, but were fortunately caught after a month. All things considered, a happy ending. But what happened that morning? Why was I 7 again? I know that trauma has a way of turning us into time travelers. And on that otherwise ordinary morning in the safe, loving home that I built for my family, my landscapers came a day early. And before I even opened my eyes, the sound of lawnmowers and sprinklers sent my body into a cold, shaking panic. Listen, I know I'm here to talk to you about becoming unstoppable. And maybe you're thinking, what could a woman who sometimes panics about lawnmowers teach me about being unstoppable? Well, on that Tuesday, I didn't stop. I sat with my feelings. I took deep breaths. I meditated. I prayed. I restarted my day. I went on to love my kids and work on the business that I'm so passionate about. I actually worked on this speech. This is because through years of work, I have built my self-esteem, an unwavering belief that no matter what, I'm going to be okay. My self-esteem allows me to look at that vulnerable morning with pride and compassion. It tells me that when those feelings come up again, I got it. If you struggle with self-esteem, I want you to know that you are not alone. Life has a way of convincing us all that we are not worthy. Some of us learn differently, which makes us think, I'll never be smart enough. Maybe a failed relationship taught you, I'll never find love. I think we've all lost ours to social media. We have a self-esteem sucker right in our pockets. The algorithm is designed to tell us that our faces, our bodies, and our lives just aren't good enough. I wasn't raised to have high self-esteem, just the opposite. Long lines of mental health issues on both sides, addiction, violence. By the time my sister was abducted, I had already been sexually abused by the man that I thought was my father. I witnessed my mother get dragged by her hair across the floor and beaten by him and his friends. I'd been on the run as he stalked us. My mother would dye our hair and change our clothes. She was desperate to stay one step ahead of our abuser. My life was telling me, you're broken, you're dirty, you're damaged. It made sense that my biological father didn't want to be a part of my life. Why would anyone want to be? It turns out that when you believe that you have nothing to offer, you end up losing a lot. Low self-esteem is linked to increased rates of depression, anxiety, and self-destructive behaviors. It makes us turn away from our family and our friends. And it affects our ability just to get through a day. So, how do you break that pattern? How do you start to believe in you? When I couldn't think positively about myself, I believed in someone who did. For me, that person was my godmother, Claire. Rest her soul. She was brilliant and passionate. She believed in everyone that she met. Especially me, she treated me like I was her own daughter. And she believed that unlike other people in my family, that I could overcome my trauma, that I could become the attentive mother, reliable friend and daughter, the amazing dancer. Substituting her vision for my own was my first esteemable act. A small step that transformed my insecurities into energy and motivation that made me crave more good things for myself. Do you want to feel that way? Like a positive fuel is powering you through life? To harness your personal momentum, start by committing to esteemable acts every day. I have good news. Building self-esteem does not require grand sweeping changes. You don't have to swear to give up sugar forever or meditate 6 hours a day. You have to commit to teeny tiny movements. Hold the door open for someone behind you. Say thank you and good job to other people. Floss your teeth every day. For me, it was making my bed. That was one of the first things I committed to doing when I was 26, when I decided to change my life. Every day, I just made my bed. And as I struggled with the guilt of what I put my loved ones through, the shame of addiction, and the uncertainty that I could truly break this generational curse, I could look over at my bed and see that too. That even in all of this chaos, I was working towards a better version of myself. That's the power of esteemable acts. They challenge the powerful negative narratives in our mind. And there are so many. It's estimated that 70% of women and 50% of men criticize themselves about their bodies every day. That 50% of us struggle with imposter syndrome. Our brains are designed to remind us about the presentation that didn't go well, to obsess over the jeans that don't fit, and the invitations we didn't get. But when we build a pattern of esteemable actions, we show ourselves. We are dependable, generous, kind, resourceful, unstoppable. When I first started making my bed, I had no idea that I was creating my own momentum that made me look around and say, yeah, I can do that. Momentum that led me back to school to earn my bachelor's in alternative medicine. At 34 years old, my 2 children got to see me walk the stage in my cap and gown. I saw the show Intervention on TV on the A&E network, and I said, I'm going to be on that one day. 14 years later, I made it happen. I was just on the last season on 3 episodes as a featured professional. I get to use my voice on a much greater platform than I ever thought possible all those years ago. And now I am the woman of substance that I always wanted to be. And I never struggle with self-esteem. I'm kidding, of course. I wish self-esteem was something that we could just bank forever. But life is unpredictable, right? We don't get to schedule things that shake us to our core. Being unstoppable means that when life challenges us, we still feel that hurt, we still feel that pain, but we know that we can survive it. Listen, I know a lot of us have some sort of self-care routine. It's one of the top ranked Google searches since 2018. If you're feeling overwhelmed, maybe you do yoga. You talk to your therapist. Maybe you've cold plunged. It's crazy. I've done it, but that kind of shock to the body can really reset that mind. But have you ever encountered a pain so deep, so fierce that all these tools fail you? I'm talking about the big scary things: heartbreak, grief, failure. In that moment, our fight or flight reaction gets activated. And what do most of us do? We run, more therapy, more yoga. If you're a parent, you're loving your little ones even harder, or you dedicate more time to your job. Now, these are all productive, healthy things, but when you crawl into bed at night, you're still left with that pain and uncertainty. Listen, this is going to sound counterintuitive, but when those overwhelming, difficult moments arise, my advice isn't to stay on the move or to try to fix it. It's to sit in it. So hard. To be very, very still. Sounds scary, doesn't it? Oops. I work with hundreds of clients dealing with addiction and trauma. I've seen it in my own life. There is no shortcut. You have to allow yourself to feel the breadth and the depth of what you're going through. Because when we acknowledge feeling lonely, scared, weak, all the scary stuff, we're actually helping repair our self-esteem. When you listen to yourself, you reconfirm that your feelings are real and worthy of care. You give yourself the opportunity to think, hey, I went through something like this before. Maybe I'm more prepared than I realized. And sometimes you have a breakthrough. I spent years emotionally on the run. I didn't want to sit in it, so I threw myself into mothering and growing my business. But when I was really quiet and really listening to myself, I was rocked by a devastating truth. I realized that my marriage was over. I told you, the sitting with yourself, it can be scary. I remember knowing this on the last family vacation that we took. We went skiing and snow tubing. We played board games around a fire. And I remember looking around and knowing that this was the last time that my family would be together in this way. That soon I was going to break my kids' hearts, change all of our lives forever. It was terrifying. But I also knew that I was the type of mother who always listened and showed up. I knew that I could sit with them in the dark times, that I had the work ethic and tools to support them, that I deserved to find the type of love that I always wanted. I could be grateful for that version of my life that I was saying goodbye to. I could trust myself to navigate what was to come next, even with all the uncertainty and unknowns. What would you do if you were unstoppable? Would you go after that job? Would you pursue your education? Would you speak your mind? Would you fall in love? If you spend time building your self-esteem, I promise you that in those moments, you'll feel more momentum than fear. You'll be more ready than you ever imagined. So, start today. Why wait, right? Take your first step. Take your first sit. And that's how you become unstoppable. Thank you so much.